ICC launches inquiry into Israeli war crimes. Netanyahu and Palestinians battle over ICC inquiry. Jews on high alert throughout Europe. And new Likud campaign video pokes fun at party heads. Shalom and welcome to the Jerusalem Post News. Here are your headlines for Sunday, January 18th. The International Criminal Court decided on Friday to launch an inquiry into possible war crimes committed by Israel during the summer's Operation Protective Edge. The Jerusalem Post's legal affairs correspondent, Yonah Jeremy Bob, is on the phone with us to explain the possible repercussions.
International Criminal Court prosecutor Bensouda's decision to investigate IDF conduct in the summer war in Gaza is a really big deal. It's a dramatic change. It's the first time that she said, we recognize there is a state of Palestine in the International Criminal Court. That was a battle that Israel won in 2012, and it lost this time. But there are a ton of other hurdles that Israel can use before this even gets to a case. Under the Oslo Accords, Israel can argue that maybe the Palestinians don't have the right to bring complaints. Israel can say that under the principle of complementarity, the 13 investigations and maybe more that IDF is doing on its own block the ICC from getting involved. Israel isn't the party to the Rome Statute. It can sit out the whole thing, and Israel can say that there's discrimination, that if Hamas isn't doing investigations or Hamas isn't cooperating, why should it be investigated?
Thanks, Yonah. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded fiercely to the ICC inquiry on Saturday, while the Palestinians spoke out in support of the move.
Israel rejects the absurd decision of the ICC prosecutor. It's absurd for the ICC to ignore international law and agreements under which the Palestinians don't have a state and can only get one through direct negotiations with Israel. The rules of the ICC are clear. No state, no standing, no case.
We believe this is a very important step, however modest, because for the first time in its history, since its creation, Israel is going to be subject to accountability, especially to legal and judicial accountability in terms of its own persistent violations of Palestinian rights and international law.
Hundreds of troops throughout Europe were deployed over the weekend to guard possible terrorist targets, including Jewish sites and diplomatic missions. In Belgium, where Jewish schools were closed on Friday, up to 300 soldiers will be stationed at locations such as the U.S. and Israeli embassies and NATO and EU institutions. Troops will reinforce police at least until Thursday, when authorities will review the national threat level, set at a 3 on a scale of 4 this week. In Britain, Jewish institutions were also given increased security, where members of the community approved the increase of security around synagogues and other Jewish venues, but said it was important not to cave in despite being worried of potential attacks. A controversial Likud campaign video appeared online over the weekend, causing a stir among politicians and activists. In the video, children dressed up as party heads Tzipi Livni, Naftali Bennett, Avigdor Lieberman, and Yair Lapid played wildly in a preschool while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu berates their behavior. In the clip, the children play with highly symbolic toys. Yesh Atid leader Lapid, the former finance minister, struggled with an abacus, while Bennett, who advocated a more aggressive military policy during Operation Protective Edge, played with tanks. Yisrael Beitenu's Lieberman, whose party officials are under investigation for corruption, refused to share his toys. Finally, Hatnua's Livni, who has been in 4 political parties in the past decade, ran around the room making a mess. And that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more headlines. For now, shalom from the Jerusalem Post studios.